I think the legacy of Stewart Udall will be that he is going to be regarded as one of the premier environmentalists of the 20th century, ranking with Rachel Carson, David Brower, Theodore Roosevelt, and Franklin Roosevelt. And I think he will be remembered for giving impetus to something that's called the environmental movement. The University of Arizona was segregated. African Americans could not eat in the cafeterias. The city of Tucson was segregated. And so Stewart and Mo decided to try to change that. They were both at heart reformers, both at heart civil rights advocates. He convinced Lady Bird to go on this political trip with him to states like Wyoming and Montana, and he really converted her to an environmentalist and really launched her beautification campaign. Let's beautify American cities, let's beautify the American countryside, let's get rid of billboards and junkyards and all this trash that we see. Let's make America beautiful again. And he also understood that by recruiting Lady Bird, if she was for it, Lyndon was going to be for it, because he seldom disagreed with anything that Lady Bird wanted.
I was pregnant and I was pretty sick, and he was on the phone. So we barely had a conversation. The one real question that he asked me was, and I'll never forget it, he said, "Those North Cascades, should they be a national park?" And he had another phone call, and that was it. He didn't offer me a job. But a few weeks later, his secretary called. "Where are you? The boss is looking for you. He's having a meeting." Oh. I didn't know I was to be there. Well, come on. Stewart Udall lived in a very simple way. He wasn't attracted to material items. He traveled with a briefcase, and whatever he needed, like a change of shirt, would go into the briefcase with his papers, but he did not need luggage. Stewart loaned me to her. It was my birthday, and we came into the Lincoln bedroom upstairs. I happened to be sitting by the window, and we could hear singing outside. Mrs. Johnson said, "What are they doing?" And I looked out the curtain, and I said, "They're on their knees in the snow, Mrs. Johnson, and they're singing, 'We shall overcome.'" She and I looked at each other. Tears came down her face.
He brought in Carl Sandburg. He brought in all kinds of artists, musicians, poets to perform, and helped other cabinet members support these financially, which they sometimes resented. You know, they worked all day, and yet they were supposed to go to these damn cultural events too, and not only that, help sponsor them financially.
My grandfather wanted each person to develop a relationship with the out of doors, where you don't see another human being, and all you can see and hear is natural. The world and Mother Nature is so much bigger than anything that any of us have built and put on top of it. And I think that he wanted each person to be able to experience the liberation of that.
I feel like the politics of beauty is still there, and it's up to us to keep it alive. I mean, I was raised by two parents who felt I needed to be outdoors, and I was surrounded by beauty every weekend. We were in a stream or on a mountain trail somewhere. We have to make sure that we are giving children opportunities to surround themselves with that beauty outdoors so they grow up to realize that it's up to them to protect these spaces.
Stewart had Lee to rely upon as somebody to bounce ideas and thoughts and stuff like that off of.
She was the rock of our family. She's the one, kind of the glue that kept us all together. She didn't really live in our dad's shadow. She had her own legacy that she built for herself, and I think she added a lot to his career.
After Lee passed away in 2001, a huge light went out for Stewart. He was a huge student of history, and he would read as much history as he possibly could. He would chide me because I loved to read fiction. And he said, "Why are you wasting your time on fiction?" And I said, "Why are you wasting your time on history?" The phone rang. His caregiver said, "Stewart wants you to come by if you can." And I went up to the house, and there was Stewart in bed on his way out. And we looked at each other, and we had talked about death a lot over many years. And he said, "Well, here it is. I'm about to die." A lot of people might think of his great political legacy with regard to what he did for the national parks and the environment. But in retrospect, after all of these years, I think that his greatest legacy of all was his family, his kids, because they're all beautiful people.